Welcome back to GBGuns. Got another writer right along, if you will. I've got a few of these North American Arms mini revolvers in for an article I'm working on, but I thought I'd give you guys a peek at these guns and my initial thoughts of them on the tabletop here. We're looking at a little 22 LR with an 1.1/8 barrel coming up next on GBGuns. So it might be a rather simple looking box, but they make up for that with this. Look at that. Who else gives you such a nice case? An actual lockable, even got holes in it for running cables through, decent hard case, a true hard case. I think that's pretty cool of North American Arms to do. This box to rest somewhere. There we go. Open up, we have our gun and a nice note to remind you to check underneath the foam for your owner's manual, registration card, etc. Here's the keys for this lock, or this case, and you can see it's got a foam top in addition to the foam insert bottom. And here's our manual. Let's get all these cards out of here. Which is rather simple because the gun itself is rather simple. A nice safety feature that they have on here. I'll get more into that in a second. Let me get this out of the way and we can take a look at the gun. Look at this little guy. Awesome. Now I'm going to stay zoomed out for a second just for scale because I want to show you. This is very cowboy-esque. So I've got a single action Army 1873 here with your standard, was like a 4 3/4 inch barrel. That's the norm. This little thing is roughly the size of the receiver. Tiny. Alright, now let's zoom in. You might recall that recently I covered another one of these. They're hog leg. This is a 6.5 inch barrel, 6 inch barrel, 22 Magnum. Whole lot more gun. But this little guy is itty bitty. Zoom way in there for you. Handsome looking thing. First, of course, we'll show clear. You can see it's all clear. And one of the things that really impressed me with these in looking them over is the machining that's done. These are made in Provo, Utah, and you can see obviously there's a screw there, but it has been ground flush and then polished. It looks pretty nice. And we do also have these holster grips. You gotta zoom back out for decent size packaging here. This is like a plastic replacement for these beautiful grips that folds over, it covers the trigger, and also has a belt clip on it so you can clip these things somewhere. Because, man, with something this small, you can put it just about anywhere. You might be wondering about the exposed trigger. That's not a concern because these are single action only. Once it's back, now you can fire, but with a hammer down, nothing's going to happen. And they made a really nice little safety improvement on the cylinder, which I'll show you when I field strip this thing. As far as the sights, with the hammer back, you can see a cut here and the front side there. That's all there is to these things. Wonderfully simple. To show you field stripping, which is also how you load and unload. I want the hammer back a notch, and then right here you push on a detent, pull that rod out, and your cylinder drops out to the right side. You want to go to the right side so that you're not messing with that, I believe the term is pawl there. And this rod that you just popped out is also what you can use to knock out stuck rounds. But you drop your rounds in there, you can see it's got the nice recess on there for the rimfire cartridge. And these notches in between here are where you can safely rest the hammer while carrying. So completely safe, dead effectively, single action Army, or single action only. And on top of that, your firing pin rests in this notch when you're carrying, so even if you drop it, there's no way that the hammer is going to set off a round. Very smartly done, but So if I can zoom in some more so you guys can get a look at that build quality. Handsome little things. Now, what would you do with an 1 1/8 .22 long rifle? Not sure. Does 22 LR kill? Yes, it does. It's still very usable for defense. Do I recommend it for defense? No, but I'm hard pressed to think of where you can carry a gun where having something absolutely tiny is a must. I also think these are kind of a fun novelty, maybe a great range thing, maybe something good to shove in your pocket when you're on the ranch or in the barn for taking out rodents and things like that. Little 5-shot 22 can't hurt. When we do the article, we're going to run a couple different loads through it and see what kind of velocity we're getting out of there so that we can actually figure out the energy coming out. We found that the hog leg, when we did it, the big guy here, in 22 mag with a longer barrel, actually was close to the bottom end of 380 energy. So pretty decent energy. You certainly felt it in the hand. My issue in shooting this guy was that to get wrapped around it, I end up leaving some gap here in my hand just because my hand is too large for this gun. And so when firing, the handgun pounds back into my hand. So it wasn't exactly the most pleasant, not terrible, but you know, not something you want to spend all day doing. So we'll see how this guy runs with 22 LR. Of course, it's going to be less recoil. It's also a different grip angle and feel, so it might be nicer to shoot. But I mean, look at that in the palm of my hand. That is such a tiny gun. Really cool. I think it's neat that these things are out there. We'll get a feel for it when we hit the range. We might bring you all along and do another ride-along range session, or you'll just have to wait for the article to learn more. But wanted to take this opportunity to show you guys the North American Arms mini revolvers. This is one of a few that I've got to show you on the channel here. Thanks for watching.